y'all hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear, but I can't see it. Kind of just kicked me out.
Yeah, you gotta go live. We got 30 seconds.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I know. I think we're on.
27 seconds of me breathing.
Let's move this.
Hey-o.
What's up? You're listening to the Air Raid Attack, your home of the unscripted, unfiltered, 100% authentic. It is, in fact, the final episode of 2022 as we head into 23. A lot to go on, but first things first, we had Kevin Bryant on back, and I believe in the early part of September. He reached out to me, Spies on the Sideline, the book he just recently released. It's a book to fully explore the extraordinary actions the NFL takes to willing to do whatever it takes to win.
Oh.
And
The NFL?
two free audio books. If you're interested, the tweet will come out later on, and it's definitely a good one to. I don't know what I'm doing here. There we go. Whatever.
Good one to check
We'll go
out.
with that.
Like
But first things first. Depends on however the live stream is going. Clyde, my good friend from Colorado, beautiful Colorado, is joining
Very
us.
beautiful.
And then two great friends of mine, the hosts of the Herb Rodg Podcast, themselves, the very own Herb and Rodg. Welcome back, guys. Glad to have you on tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Yep, thank you, sir.
Most definitely. And first things first, I know that Clyde kind of opened up the worms. Rodg, your Miami Dolphins. Why are they so good this
buddy.
year?
We are doing good. We're 8-4, second in the AFC East right now. For some odd reason, we lost to the 49ers and the third string quarterback, Brock Purdy. We lost to a team with the starting quarterback's name was Brock Purdy. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What hurts worse, Rod, the fact that he's third string or the fact that his name is Purdy?
I think the fact that his name is Purdy because it's almost like too close to pretty, and I just don't like that. So, anyway, I watched as much as I could of that game, and Tua was just extremely inaccurate. He had a lot of high passes, he was off the whole game. He just didn't look like himself. San Francisco's defense played well as they always do. And like I said, even when Jimmy G went out, and I really thought we were going to pull through and win that game a lot easier. But it is what it is. We're in second place. I just think that the Dolphins season is really going to come down to that next matchup we have with the Bills up in Buffalo. And I kind of feel like the winner of that game is going to win the division. I know we got lucky. We really got lucky to beat them the first time, but it's going to be a lot more difficult. And I also noticed that Buffalo, and I'm not sure if y'all were going to bring this up later on, but Von Miller's out for the season, torn ACL. So,
is it torn?
Yep.
Yeah, it's torn.
Of course, we hope he
came out this afternoon, I think, or later this afternoon.
Correct.
Dang, I didn't hear that. That's a bummer.
Yeah, I saw it when I was at work today. So he's out for the season. I didn't even know he tore his ACL. I didn't know what happened, to be honest with
It's
you.
been a couple weeks at least, and it wasn't a torn ACL in the beginning. It wasn't torn until today, so I don't know what other things they did or whatever to get to this diagnosis, but that was a shock.
Yeah. So other than that, I mean, I'm just hoping that Miami, my prediction for Miami was to get the wild card spot because I didn't know if we had what it took to beat Buffalo. And right now I'm just hoping that my prediction stays true.
Of course, right now I think you guys are 8-4.
Yep.
Headed into the final, 4 or 5 weeks left. You're at the Chargers, you're at the Bills, you got the Green Bay at home, you're at New England, and then you finish off the regular season with the Jets.
Yeah.
At 8-4, what do you think with that final stretch? I think it's 5 games. What do you think that final stretch of the 5 looks like for Miami? And where does that put you guys at, in your opinion, when it comes to the playoffs?
It's interesting you asked me that because Herb and I think discussed this yesterday, and I think Miami's going to end up at 4-1. I would not be surprised if they end up 3-2. I can see us losing possibly 2 games, but I think we'll beat the Chargers. And I would say that one loss would be the Buffalo game. I'll give them that. But the other 4 teams, I think we can win. So hopefully we end up at 4-1. And I guess depending on how Buffalo plays and how they finish the season, we'll either be in first or second in the AFC East.
I still like Miami's chances in the. I still think they can be that dark horse team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think when you can score, basically like that, and you've got two dynamic playmakers, as long as those two are healthy, I think you always have a shot.
I agree. I just think our defense needs to step up even more. I know the acquisition of Bradley Chubb was huge for us, but I still think when it comes down to playing Buffalo and keeping Josh Allen grounded to the best of our abilities, it's going to be difficult.
Right. And I would also look at matchups like, Kansas City maybe later on too as well.
That too. Kansas City's still strong. Kansas City's what, like 9-2, right?
3. I think they've lost 3 games now.
Oh, okay.
They lost to the Bengals.
They got like the Bengals.
Oh, yeah, they did.
And the Bills, right?
You're right.
Yeah,
that Colts game just seems like so far like what happened there. No shame in losing to the the Bengals and the Bills, but I have no idea how they lost to the Colts. So.
And then seeing how Dallas destroyed the Colts the other day, like putting up like a college football score. Was it like 59-14?
Yeah, 50. They scored 33 points in the fourth quarter.
That's crazy.
With what is it, like less than 400 yards of offense or something crazy like that too, or some real low number to get that many points. He's only bringing up Dallas because his wife is a Dallas fan, though. By the way,
right? By marriage, I have to root for the Cowboys.
You just got to keep peace in the household.
Yeah, I am.
Hey, Raj, I'm more interested in your rookie head coach. Tell me why that guy's having so much success, whereas our guy is not.
No, Raj, you know who their guy is, right? You know who their guy is.
Coach Buttons.
He's talking about for Denver. He's like, why is Miami at working and Denver it's not?
Nathaniel Hackett and Mike McDaniel. I wonder if it's Mike McDaniel, if he just relates better to some of the players. I don't know. It seems like he just gets along with the players better. So, I see the Broncos hat. Speaking of the Broncos, I actually picked Russell Wilson for the preseason MVP, and obviously that did not pan out as I planned.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not going to pan out. Not even close to this year.
Yeah. When you look at the part where it says others receiving votes, his name.
Yeah,
he's not even in the list.
I mean, I don't. What is it? Just Nathaniel Hackett? Is it the coaching, or what is it with Denver? Before
we say that, I want to get your pick one last on Rodg and Miami. What was your first reaction to that trade with Denver, Bradley Chubb, of course, going to Miami? Of course, we get a first-round pick in return.
Yeah, I was okay with it. I was okay with it because our team, Miami's built to win now. So giving up another first-round pick, I think we can live with that. I do hope when the draft comes that we do get some better offensive tackles. And prior to us getting Jeff Wilson, I was really high on getting a running back, but I like Wilson back there. Him and Mostert, they make a nice little combo. So when we got Chubb, I was excited about it, and I'm happy with it.
Yeah, kind of like the Rams formula. Forget draft picks if you think you can win now.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know how long Waddle and Tyreek are going to be together. I mean, players move all the time nowadays, so I'm hoping they stay together for a long time. But with them and Tua, we got to win now. We got to see how far we can go.
Why wouldn't they stay together?
Anything could happen. I'd have to take a look at their contracts and see what's going on. But I mean, that's a good question. I hope they stay together for a long time for my personal sake too, so we can win. But
when you said it, I was assuming you meant because of money though and contracts. Yeah, trying to keep Tua and 2-star wide receivers, I think is going to be tough.
Right.
But you got 3 more years of Waddle.
Yeah.
Minimum. So, I mean, that's enough. In the NFL, that's enough. 3 years is
that's a huge window. I agree with Clyde. That's a huge window.
And then we got to make sure Tua stays healthy too.
That's probably your bigger if.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
All right, Clyde. Now I'll let. Sorry, I kind of had to get Rodg's thoughts on that. Now back to what Rodg asked you. No. Why do you think we suck so bad? Because we suck really, really bad. Like really, really bad. Like really, really bad.
I didn't say that. Those are his words. I didn't say that.
No, Rodg, you can say it, man. We suck really, really bad.
Clyde is self-aware, so he's like an honest fan. So I don't think he goes sugarcoat it.
We're gonna send the number 2 pick in the draft to the Seahawks for Russell Wilson. Just to be clear. In this year's draft. So Bryce Young, maybe? We're trading Bryce Young and the 35-6 pick over to the Seattle Seahawks for what we're getting out of Russ this year.
Plus that
worst trade in NFL history. I mean, it's in the contention for it. So
maybe Herschel Walker, I guess, might have you beat, but that's
I don't know. It depends on how the Seahawks utilize those picks.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they need a quarterback even, because their quarterback looks kind of good right now.
Geno Smith is
the Seahawks, man. I'd probably wait second round and get like a Hendon Hooker type, like somebody who doesn't need to play right away. So like, what is it, Hooker or I had his name right there, but one of those kind of guys that you don't need to plug in next year.
Kid from Kentucky or whatever.
Will Levis.
I think he's going first round. So
what about Stetson Bennett?
Oh, Anthony Richardson. That was the other one I was thinking. Like more of a project, second, third rounder.
Yeah.
If I'm the Seahawks and ride out Geno Smith for another year and maybe the rest of the team. But I mean, that's about as far as my analysis goes. But that trade was just – I think the thing about that trade is you have to be getting like MVP Russell Wilson, and they just didn't get MVP Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
All the rest of the dominoes go from there. But also having a coach who isn't very aware of what's going, like no in-game, adjustments.
Yeah.
Like when you're not getting prime Russell Wilson, I don't think they're making any changes, So that's the outside view, though. That's not a personal.
No, that's a good view. I mean, you're looking at the very obvious. It's very clear what's going on is we have a very bad head coach and a quarterback who's playing very bad.
Yeah.
So who's to blame? I have to blame our general manager on that. I mean, there was a lot of hype about our general manager being one of the best talent evaluators in the NFL. And I think Broncos fans lean very much on hype because we have it sounds like hope. And that's all we have right now. I mean, hope is a strategy in Denver. And unfortunately, this guy has been awful. We're 3-13 in the last 16 games. That's the worst stretch of 16 games in Broncos history.
Well,
it's unacceptable.
Well, exactly.
I mean, the fact that Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Raj.
Not to mention the last loss when Lamar got injured, and then it ended up like 10-9. It's just like I don't know what's going on.
By the way, the defense has not played bad all year.
No, they've been great. In fact, we've wasted the defense.
Yes, and you just can't go into every game thinking we got to hold them under 10 to win.
Right,
if your defense is holding, and especially in the modern NFL, if your defense is holding people to under 20, like you got a great shot to win it. So and they're not playing nothing but great defenses every week. They're just playing anybody, and it's terrible.
Well, and that's what I think is the most disappointing. Was more hard to watch at this rate, and that's what's more disappointing is the fact that this offense and the defense is phenomenal. I feel bad for him because a lot of people give him crap, but it's like you can't put this defense constantly, almost literally 60 minutes out there, probably 45 if I had to really average the timeout, 45, 50 minutes out there, and expect them to, unfortunately, to hold the ground because. This offense, I've never seen an offense this real. We made history. I think it was last week. It was the worst offense since 2000 when it comes to points per game. I think it was at 14. I'm sure that's dropped down to 12 with the fact that we've only scored 9. But I've never seen an offense just absolutely so bad that this team can't even get in the end zone. It's just I don't know.
Zone. We couldn't even make it into the red zone.
There's. At this point, I just want to get in the end zone. I want to see 6. I'm tired of seeing these field goals.
We've had 3 games this year where we haven't even gotten into the red zone, let alone the end zone. Wow. So think about how putrid that is.
Yeah. Think about this. If you go into this weekend's game and I told you, hey, I can guarantee you're going to hold Baltimore to 10 points, you're probably betting the house, on Denver. That's just.
Well, I'm not. But yeah.
He said, I like my house.
I'll bet my house on the under.
Oh, absolutely.
Herb, I've got a piano in here. I ain't selling nothing.
And Denver plays Kansas City Sunday? Oh, wow.
Yeah, it went from a Sunday night game to now just a regular 2:05
they
Mountain Time
game and said, we don't want Denver in prime time.
Yeah, they flexed Miami to the primetime game.
Yeah,
Miami Los Angeles.
so I'll be able to catch that.
I don't have a good read on the Chargers yet, though. I don't really know what you're getting there week to week.
That team's so inconsistent. I like Justin Herbert, but that team, I still think you could easily see Sean Payton be the new head coach out there.
Yeah.
Oh, he would love.
Like it's just the coaching changes needed, though. You think that's what puts him over the top?
I think Justin misses Mike McDaniels, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because McDaniels is why Tua has played phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I still think if we had
Mike
McDaniels
was in San Francisco, right?
I think. Where did him and Kyle? Was that where him and Shanahan met up?
I think.
Yeah, he was.
I think so.
Yeah, he was in San Francisco.
I think they were at
quarterback coach. Yeah, he was the quarterback coach or something like that in Washington, right?
Okay.
And then he went out there to San Francisco to be their OC. He's awesome, by the way.
Yeah,
I wish Denver grabbed him.
He's from Aurora.
Mm-hmm.
I think he had some time in my hometown. He grew up a little bit where I'm from. Loves the Broncos.
I don't think OC is Denver's problem. And I think offensively it starts with Russ. And you almost get the feeling like the Seahawks knew something towards the end there. And I feel like you guys got a lemon. And I don't know that a better OC could fix what's going on there. You know, part of what was earlier on was his mobility. He doesn't run anymore. His accuracy isn't there. And then you start to hear the off the field. Like we already know that, you know, there's two positions, quarterbacks and wide receivers that are going to be deep. Like you kind of already know that going in. But if your quarterback is so, you know, off all the off field and you have no chemistry with anybody, you're not developing anything offensively. And then if you're not playing well, that even makes it even worse, you know? Like you're the kind of got an entourage of 30 people and you're terrible on the field, like you lose all the respect, I think, of everyone else. So.
Well, I don't think he has much respect in the locker room right now.
Yeah, he's lost the locker room. He's absolutely lost it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting at. I think that, and I think it's starting to translate even more and more on the field. You look at the body language of everybody on that field when they're playing, and it just looks like they've given up.
I was about
Especially
to say
on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah. Go ahead, Raj.
No, I said it looks like they just wanted to be over with. So
yeah,
I mean the season's gone, but I don't know. I was wrong about this one.
Clyde. And I'll take obviously Herb Rodg's little thoughts on this video. Clyde, did you see that video? I think I tagged you in on earlier this past week, or might have been last week, about Russell Wilson practically saying unlimited diarrhea, unlimited.
Yeah, he did say that.
Mm-hmm.
He's such a dork, man.
Yeah.
Is he in that video? Is he not drunk?
I don't know what he's.
Give us what's the video?
Yeah, I gotta check. I haven't seen the video.
Okay, I'm gonna tag you guys. Hold on. I'm going to send this.
He just says unlimited diarrhea.
I'm gonna send this in the chat that we got for the Twitter, DM wise, and I'll let you guys play it from there. I kind of want to get copyrighted and all that crap.
Gotcha.
I don't know what behind the storyline is behind him saying that. I don't know. Maybe his kids had the flu.
No, he's
and
Mr.
he's
Unlimited.
just absolutely tired, and he's tired of probably cleaning up his kids' mess. I don't know. Maybe he's referring to how we play like diarrhea. I don't know. I don't
Mr.
know.
Unlimited. You know about the Mr. Unlimited, right?
Well, what is he? Unlimited diarrhea?
No, he's Mr. Unlimited. That's his alter ego.
Oh Lord.
Oh,
you haven't heard about this?
No.
I haven't either.
Yeah, he came
Fill
up with
me
this
in,
a few
Clyde.
years ago in Seattle. So I guess in Seattle he came up with his alter ego. And his alter ego is Mr. Unlimited. And then
So why is he saying diarrhea?
So I think it's about his kid, one of his kids. I think it was like unlimited diarrhea, like because he kept pooping. I don't know.
He's like the kind of person that he's really bought into the hype of himself.
Yes.
He's really letting that getting carried away. Like he's enjoying being a celebrity and not so much worried about like the play on the field anymore, you know?
Well, it certainly looks like that. And here's another thing. So I think it was last week was his birthday, and they had a birthday party for him. And there was this report that only half the team showed up for his birthday party. Well, first of all,
I heard about that.
If if half of you guys on the panel right now showed up to my birthday party, I would be ecstatic. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, so for half the team to show up to Russ's party, I think that's a pretty good thing. But it was a surprise party set up by Sierra. Now, if Sierra calls me and asks me to come to her house for Russ's party, I'm going because of her. No matter what. I mean, like, what am I going to say no to Sierra?
Well, I'm going just to use 12 of their bathrooms, dude.
You know what's funny, though, we're talking numbers here, though. Like, it's kind of overblown. If you say half of a football team, that means you're getting like 26, 27 people still showing up. That's a lot of people. Like you said, if you said only half the panel showed up to your show, like, so 2 people didn't show. So you had like 1 person there. Like, that's a totally different number. But I think that story's probably used to illustrate the divide between him and the rest of the team, which I do think is there, party or not. So.
It's probably offense and defense.
Yeah. Well, if I was a defender, I wouldn't show up to his party because I'd definitely be mad. But you see, like, obviously Raj and I are a little partial to Jerry Jeudy, but we have never seen that kind of body language from him like any of his years at Alabama that I see on the field with Denver. So
he's been like that since he got here, though. I don't know what's his.
Now, who's
problem?
that, Russ?
I was going to ask you.
No,
or Jerry.
I didn't pay attention to Jeudy really until this year, though. I think he came in hurt. I think the first year, if I'm not mistaken, or was banged up a little. So this is like the first. Plus, I also have him in fantasy this year, so I watch him a little bit more. And then he was with me, so I thought, this is going to be a great marriage. But the games I have seen this year, it just looks like he doesn't want to, be out there. So
well, he wanted to be out there for 3 years.
Reminds me of Calvin Ridley and Jalen Hurts when they were first out there. I think Rodg will get that to it.
But I wonder if he's still trying to get adjusted to the league because he's not getting the ball as much as he was out. Things were a lot easier in college. Things were much easier. He could run anywhere, and Tua was going to throw him the ball anywhere. It's just not like that in the league anymore. And I wonder if he's still having, like, I don't know if you can call them growing pains or just adjustment issues or what, but it hasn't clicked yet.
Well, I'm glad that's an interesting thing that Garage brought that up because I was thinking the same thing. Since Jerry's been in the league, he hasn't had a consistent quarterback really to throw him the ball.
In 3 years, he's caught 4 touchdown passes.
Yeah.
4 touchdowns.
Now, I will say this, though, on the flip side of it, DeAndre Hopkins played for years with some of the worst quarterback play, and he was still a superstar.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
Like, obviously, I'm biased because I love Jerry Jeudy, love Alabama players, but it's just not the same player that we're used to seeing.
No, I agree.
Clyde just brought up a good point. He was like that before us, so it's kind of hard to. I just never paid attention to him, really last year. I feel like I need to look it up. I feel like he was banged up or didn't play the full season last year, was hurt, but I might be mistaken on that one. But this year just is not. I've seen him in games and seen some of the drops, and I'm just like mentally, you can tell he's not into it.
Yeah,
he's had games where he's dropped 5 or 6 passes.
Right, that's more than like the whole 3 years at Alabama.
Like, what is he doing? I don't know if he seems like he does not want to be in Denver, man.
He definitely does not.
All.
And I think
at this point, I don't think nobody wants to be.
Yeah. That is true.
Yeah, I think Jerry Jeudy's a trade candidate for next year.
I think him and
I thought they were going to do that before the trade deadline, to be honest.
Me too.
So
I think the Packers really wanted him.
Yeah. I'd love to see what that offer was.
Me too, because I would have taken a third or even a 4th round pick for him at this point.
And you're talking about getting a first rounder for a 3rd or 4th. I mean, that's just buying low, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But you can tell the Packers aren't really interested in trying to help Aaron Rodgers here again.
No.
Receiver. So.
But do you think Aaron Rodgers will come back next year, or will he be somewhere else?
He'll be in Denver.
Well, if Aaron Rodgers plays again next year, it'll be in Green Bay. But I don't know if he plays again next year.
Yeah, because I think somebody else has to get him. I forgot what the amount would be, or the cap. I forgot all those details, but I heard it was like astronomical. So
yeah, like $50 million, isn't it? Or around that range.
I think it's more actually.
I think it's more than that.
Yeah, I think it's like 80 or 90 million.
Oh gosh, never mind.
Yeah, they had a thing on it for ESPN. I think did a breakdown of people wanting to get on there, so I'd have to refer back to that. But yeah, you're probably right. So yeah, he's Green Bay or nothing.
Yeah.
Green Bay.
So
that's Russ too.
Yeah,
Russ is Denver or nothing because he signed that huge extension.
Well, yeah, nobody wants to pick that up.
Yeah.
Nah, who would? I don't blame him. Nobody.
including the Broncos.
So
Yeah, we got to fire our GM. By the way, I just want to put that out there. He's been nothing short of an unmitigated disaster.
They have not managed the quarterback situation. And I know Elway was before then, but what has it been like? 10 years? I haven't got the quarterback situation correct.
Going
and
on,
they
yeah.
bungled it in the worst way possible. Yeah, somebody's got to go.
So coming from a non-biased standpoint, when it comes to you, Herb Rodg, obviously, I got my opinion. Clyde's got his. Obviously, we're both diehard Bronco fans, so obviously we're going to be, what so and so should be gone, so and so. From your guys' standpoints, what should Denver do? Obviously, playoffs are now out of the picture. 6 straight losing season, 7 straight without making the playoffs. What should Denver do headed into 23?
Pray.
I mean, the problem with your question is so let's take the Green Bay example, right? And they're out of it. Jordan Love would be starting for me the rest of the year. In the Denver example, there is nobody, right? You already had a look at whoever was there before Russ anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So that's who I would have been taking a look at. I don't have that. I've lost first rounder, so I don't really have a plan for that. I would honestly look at this offseason, going back to what we just said, the people who were trade candidates before before the trade deadline, like a Jerry Jeudy, still a first round pick. I'd almost pull them aside and say, look, dude, if I can get some better body language and no drops for you the rest of this year, I will get you out of here at the end of the year. But every drop drops your trade value. And
you just need production.
Huh?
Yep.
But I would almost just say, look, I will get you out of here if you show me anything. But I think you've got to try to stockpile a couple picks back, trade anybody who's any kind of value to you, and almost take an approach like that. Your problem is you're locked into Russ now, and you're almost locked into a win now situation with the team that's no longer ready to win now. But you got to get some back.
So hope is a strategy.
Hope is now a strategy.
But I agree with Herb, and I think you got to start somewhere in the draft and see what you can get with what you got. But I mean, I know Russ is having a bad year, but I don't think he's going to have 2 back-to-back bad years. So I think he's going to improve. Well, obviously he has no choice but to improve next year. So
what makes you say that, Raj?
Well, he's having a bad year this year, so it's kind of hard to have another worse. It's hard to play worse than this year to next year, so he'll be all right next year.
Well, the problem is if he's aging and running was part of his thing, that's going to always become less. So you're almost banking on the accuracy just coming, because he used to throw a beautiful deep ball without even that's I don't know. And they don't have the running game to kind of prop him up Aaron Rodgers when he's not having a great game. Green Bay at least has 2 good running backs. I don't see any positives, offensively right now for Denver. So I might also because we mentioned, guys like Richardson and stuff like that. I might start looking at guys like that I know I could still get in 2nd or 3rd round. But obviously I don't know Denver's. I forget how much they trade, so I don't even know when their first pick is in the draft.
Well, they got Miami's first round pick.
Say it again.
From San Francisco. They got San Francisco first round pick via Miami from the Chubb trade.
Okay.
So they do have a first round pick, but it's going to be late first round.
It's going to be in mid-20s, about 20 to 26.
You're not going to want any of the first round pick, quarterbacks, and then you're not going to want to take a 2nd round quarterback in the first round. So
we can't afford a quarterback.
Yeah. I'm saying if you get one of those guys, 2nd or 3rd round quarterback, and let him just sit behind an aging Russ for a couple years, and if Russ is terrible again next year, maybe that guy sees the field at the end of the year for a couple things. But it's almost like Clyde mentioned it and saying hope. You're almost now in a 2 or 3 year strategy just to get back to middling again. So
to end the Broncos thing on this one. Right now, where we're standing as we head into week 14, Denver's got a first-round pick thanks to the 49ers through the Dolphins trade with the included Bradley Chubb. They have a 3rd round. They have 2 3rd-round picks, a 4th, a 5th, and a 6th.
I think with the 2 3rd-rounders, you could probably get into the 2nd round, maybe with the 4th, if you felt like you could develop one of those 2 guys. But given their track record with quarterbacks, I wouldn't say that's a huge possibility. So you might be looking at just tanking a year if Russ really starts off bad next year and checking out the next quarterback class. Maybe a guy like Caleb Williams will be there for you.
I was about to say who's in that next quarterback class.
Let's see.
Who would that be?
I know Caleb Williams is the first name that comes to mind.
Yeah, I knew Caleb would be probably the top one.
Yeah.
Is he good?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. He's extremely mobile. He's got a really good arm, and he's accurate. So yeah,
I think he fits the kind of more modern age one with the mobility now. You know, it's not like a kind of Lamar when he first came into the thing where we're going to run for 100 yards or even like Fields is now, but he runs enough to keep you honest.
He only really runs when he needs to, or
Right.
if the play is called for him. But he doesn't do it to like Herb said. He doesn't just lean on the run.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely miss him down here at OU.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Sorry, man.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's
one
tough.
more question for the Broncos Nation, and I don't know this because I haven't paid too much attention. But how has PS2 played this year?
Phenomenal.
Okay,
But he's been bored lately. Honestly, like
He's too good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't pick on him, so he's gone like 3-4 games where they don't even look his way. So now teams have been kind of throwing at him a little bit, and he's been out of position.
Yeah,
like
he
last
had a
week.
rough stretch, I think, is what I read.
Yeah, last week he had a bad pass interference call on that last drive that cost them
the game.
Ultimately, that was the touchdown drive.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a bad pass interference call on third down. So on a tight end, by the way, on Andrews. So I mean, It was just really bad too. Like, what are you doing out there? I think he gets bored, and I think he's at that point of the season where it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
To answer your question, Raj, quarterback prospects are 24. Your biggest name is Caleb Williams,
right?
And your second quote-unquote biggest name is Drake May out of North Carolina.
Oh, I forgot about
Throw
May.
some names out there. KJ Jefferson from Arkansas is a potential. Michael Penix Jr. from Washington. Quinn Ewers from Texas.
Yeah.
I was about to say Quinn. I think Quinn should be available then too.
Yeah, Quinn's available from Texas. Jalen, I'm going to butcher his last name. Myro from Alabama.
Yeah.
Whatever his last name is.
It's Milroe, but
we're not high on him. He might not even have the starting job next year. So
I've already predicted I don't think he's going to start next year anyway. So
can I go back to the PS2 pick, by the way?
Williams and May look like the top two.
Pretty much Caleb is a big one that if I'm Denver, try to somehow get your hands on at this rate.
Yeah.
Going back to PS2, the Broncos should have never drafted PS2. They should have drafted Justin Fields. That would have been. They don't have a quarterback. They should have taken him there. I know it's a little bit of hindsight, and PS2 is probably one of the best corners in the game right now. But you have to have a quarterback.
Yeah.
To me,
that was
a vanity pick.
Given how long they butchered the quarterback, I can totally see his point on this one. So.
And he wouldn't have been good. Let's be honest. He would have been bad last year and probably this year. It would have taken time to develop, but we would have had all of our picks. Last year, we could have drafted a corner. We could have taken Sauce if we were that bad. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's not been a plan in place for the quarterback position. I think it was Aaron Rodgers or bust. Then Aaron Rodgers took, he took the money.
Right.
And so they immediately made a pivot and took the next best thing.
Yeah. But
it just hasn't worked.
To your point, though, with Fields, when he's bad throwing, you'll still at least get the running.
Yeah,
exactly.
You would have at least generated something. Versus when Russ right now is bad, you just get bad.
Yeah,
that's it. There is no fault. Because there's been games for the Bears. Because the Bears, let's be honest, the Bears have no weapons. At least Denver would have weapons around Fields. Something for him to build on. The Bears have nothing.
Yeah.
They got like Daryl Mooney and he just got hurt. So they have.
They got Claypool and hoping that would turn things around.
Has anybody heard from Claypool since he's been
I'm only paying attention to him because I have him on my fantasy team.
You're going to hear that theme a lot. But anyway, I know you said you want to move on from Denver, but like to your point, Clyde, I agree with you. Getting somebody like that who is at least a dual threat, at least you get half of them, and that would have been better. Like they could have beat, Fields could have beat Baltimore this past weekend.
Do you think that was a bad pick looking back?
Who's that?
I can never say instead player on defense.
PS2.
Taking PS2 over Justin Fields.
I think right now we would have to say yeah.
I'm going to say it. Terrible pick. Terrible pick.
I think
I love PS2.
He's
love him.
Not downgrading the player they chose. He's downgrading
exactly
is what he said. So
you have if you don't have a quarterback and one falls in your lap, you have to take that quarterback. I just don't understand the pick, and it was a head scratcher at the time. Great player. PS2 is a great player.
Okay, so
3-19.
I gotta defend PS2 here.
I'm not attacking PS2. I'm attacking
I see what
the cornerback pick over the quarterback pick.
And also at the time, you got to remember John Elway was a GM and he was high on Drew Lock.
No, it was George Payton that took PS2.
Was it?
Yeah,
I thought it was Elway.
It's gone by that point, is what he's saying.
No, it was George Payton. George Payton's first pick is PS2.
Yeah.
So this all comes back to George Payton.
Which is, by the way, basically taking the safe pick over taking the bold pick.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
But is it a safe pick to take a cornerback when you don't have a quarterback? The safe pick would have been take the quarterback.
I think
if you know that he's going to be really good, you can always look back and go, see, I got us a Pro Bowl starter at corner. That's what I mean by safe. The bolder pick is to take a Fields and not really, be 100% on it. Because I think when you guys mentioned Aaron Rodgers, they were like, look, the defense is ready to win now. We got to get a veteran instead of a rookie. So I think that's what I'm thinking when I say safe pick. You're getting a more ready prospect right now.
Well, that's exactly what they said in the press conference.
Yeah.
This is exactly what he said.
We're
taking the safest pick in the draft is PS.
Right.
Well, it's not the safest pick in the draft because we're 3-9 this year.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The reason why
big question mark at quarterback.
The position, though.
If Justin Fields was the quarterback this year, what would your record be?
Honestly?
Yep.
Be careful, Clyde. I disagree with you.
9-3?
9-3. Listen, Raj. I know that sounds blasphemous, and I know it's crazy. But did you know that the Denver Broncos, if they scored 18 points in regulation this year, just 18 points, they would have won 9 games? No, 10 games at this point.
I would say we should be 10-2.
Yeah. I would say 7 to 8 wins easy, Raj, without even just from the couple games that I've seen. Like that first game in Seattle.
Yeah.
And they win that game.
Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the scores now, and before we talked about it, I was just guessing, but it's 17, 16, 16, 11 and 10. How do you score 11 and 10? 11 and 10.
Safety.
12 to 9, 10 to 9. So yeah, I mean, a couple.
Those are all overtime games too. Look at all the overtime.
Yeah.
So if you score 18 points in regulation, you win 10 games, Raj. Isn't that crazy? And we're 3-9. That just shows you how bad it is. So if we have Justin Fields this year in the Denver Broncos, we're 9-3 right now.
I will say this, and Clyde, I think you're going to disagree on this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I still believe yesterday morning, yesterday afternoon, whenever the call was, I really believed Denver should have gone after and claimed Baker Mayfield. And here's why. The team's already lost out on Russ. The team attitude just sucks. They've already lost their man crush on Russ. Baker comes in with a little chip on his shoulder, swag, little thing. For $1.5 million, he had a former first-round pick as a backup. After this rate, the season's already over. Maybe he was a spark that Denver needs, and Russ can go sit his little ego on the sideline for a bit.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. I don't know if you know anything about the Broncos right now.
It can't get any worse than what he's already.
I don't want to be. I'm not trying to be mean to you, but listen, they treat Russell Wilson like he is the Queen of England right now.
Well, and that's my point. Maybe.
So, do you think that they would dare do something so blasphemous as to bring in another quarterback?
Yeah.
That would
sit him down for one game. Maybe he gets back to reality. Absolutely, I would.
There's nobody on this team that's going to hold Russell Wilson to account. No. Not one person.
Well, no. One person put Baker out there and
coach is the biggest cheerleader for Russell Wilson I've ever seen.
I think taking Baker was just throwing like more bad money after bad money. You know, if you had taken him and given him anything. So
yeah, Baker went to the right place. He went to the right place for himself. I think that was a good choice for him.
I agree.
So next season, do you bring in Baker?
No, man. Why would you?
You got to have a backup plan.
Your backup plan is to suck next year.
Backup plan is if Russ sucks again next year, which is potential.
Use
we
one
don't
of
know
those third round or fourth round picks on a developmental quarterback. Let him play the second half of next year. And if you suck and that guy sucks, that's fine. And you're in position for the top of the next year's draft.
But you bring in Baker, who's a starter,
but
has the starting experience.
Here's the thing. Let's say that you're losing let's say you're only winning about 3 to 4 games next year and Russ is terrible. And Baker pushes you to 5 or 6 wins. All he's doing is costing you draft picks.
Exactly.
I'd rather have a guy out there who you're trying to develop. And if he's bad, he's just bad. And you tell him, like, look, this is a little bit of an audition for you, but it doesn't really matter if you're bad or not. I would rather not have Baker out there trying to win me a couple games.
Yeah, you got to go all in with Russell Wilson. At this point, you're all in. Yeah. Next year, if you're good, great. If you're bad, also great.
You're setting the program. You're setting the organization back. I think now we're back in another 5 more years, the rate we're going.
But it's probably the first time you've had a plan in a while. If we start off the season and we suck, let's start scouting next year's draft for the quarterbacks.
Very true. Perfect. Well said, Herb.
I still say bring Baker to Mile High.
You will be so mad when Baker gets you to 6 wins and like the 7th or 8th pick over the first. You will be so mad.
If anything, he would look great in the Rocky Mountain National Park doing progressive commercials. Come on.
Yeah, with that beautiful wife, sure, but like it ain't gonna help you on the field.
Speaking of Colorado, Clyde, your thoughts on Dion primetime going to Boulder?
Oh man. Okay, so first
I've
of
been
all,
waiting for this one.
I'm a lion.
Since you're in Colorado, what's the media been like since primetime has now officially the new head coach of the Colorado football program? That's an absolutely dissembles. That's worse than what Denver is right now.
Well, on a Monday morning reaction Monday is what they call it on the radio. They talked more about Deion Sanders' press conference and what he means to the state of Colorado football than the Denver Broncos. So,
well, of course, at this rate, might as well.
It gives you an idea of how hyped it is. Dude, he came in, but I mean, he rubbed some people the wrong way when he came in and said, "I'm bringing my luggage," and my luggage says Louis, which I think is hilarious. Yeah. I think is great,
and it is who he is.
Mm-hmm.
That's who you're hiring. You're bringing the guy. You're bringing Prime. You're bringing Coach Prime to Boulder, and he's going to bring his sons. And fantastic. Let's ball. Let's go. It's going to be fun. Boulder is going to be a fun place to watch a football game on Saturday again. For the first time in a long time. So, man, I'm excited. I think it's going to be great.
Could Dion be the next head coach of Denver?
No.
I don't know that he wants to be an NFL coach, man. Like, I think he likes the way he can mold the kids and some of the stuff he can kind of get away with more attitude-wise. And then, like, you could see he's already trying to kill the transfer portal and stuff like that. I think those are things that you can do, control a little bit better in college than you can NFL, for sure. So I see him succeeding, doing well at Colorado, especially I guess Raj had to remind me they're actually in the Pac-12. There's a huge opportunity if a couple teams do slide out of the Pac-12 too. You almost have to just set your sights on competing with Utah and becoming physical, kind of like he just said at his last stop too. But transfer portal kid. I mean, he got 1,000 kids in the transfer portal. He could probably build a team pretty quickly. So
he has already.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, he's already brought quite a few. He's brought 2 5-star recruits.
Well, he's got the 2 5 receivers coming down. Yeah. And of course, his son. That's, in my opinion, is a phenomenal quarterback. Now, whether or not he continues to be that at Colorado, we'll find out. But
we're fixing to find out.
He's got talent.
Yeah, I think you might have muted yourself, Raj, because I can't hear you. Well, I don't know if it's just me.
I think he was unmuted. I can't hear you.
No, he's.
We lost you, Raj.
No, but we can still see your wonderful face. So what do you?
I know.
I'll read your list for saying.
We're gonna.
I know what he said. I know. I
Bird
can
is
see what he
my
said.
favorite person. That's what he just said.
Oh, good one.
Nope.
No,
Now
he'll
he's
probably
muted.
text me his question if he says it. But no, I think Prime will end up doing well there, Colorado. Like I said, there's a good opportunity in being Pac-12 and some, two top teams of the Pac-12 moving out. The Pac-12 stays together, Colorado could be a great place to be. But you see now, like kids aren't. It's not really destinations much anymore. They are following people and NIL money kind of. As long as you got a good NIL department, you can get whoever you want. And like, I don't think those numbers are even going to be exaggerated. 1,000 kids in the portal. I mean, it's pretty much free agency at this point. So,
And I'm glad
It
you
is
brought
free
that up,
agency.
Herb. What's everybody's thought? I'm starting to get really. I'm not gonna lie. I'm starting to get kind of tired of the portal already. I think it's what, second year. What's everybody's thoughts on this portal? Seems to me as if it's just now starting to be a one and done at one university, move on to the next, one and done at that university, go on to the next, so on and so forth. What's everybody's thoughts on this portal? Is it at this point, is it still good for college football, or is this going to ruin it?
It's good for Colorado.
Well, absolutely for them.
It'll be great for them.
yeah. It's good and bad for the kids, I'll say this. But I think it is, because you kind of hit on the head there. Too many of them now are thinking, I'm giving this 1 year and I'm out. Now, I understand, though, in football, you have 3 to 4 good years and not many options. So I think sometimes, it's not. And when I say many options, like if you're a decent basketball player,
right,
you'll play 4 years at your at your school. Then you could head overseas and make a great living for the next, 10, 15, 20 years and still make good money. You don't have the fame that you have over here, but you have so many options, In Dwight Howard playing, was he playing like Korea or something right now? So you still have all those options. But when it comes to football, after you don't make the NFL, if you're not in that small percentage, I mean, you've got like AFL, CFL, PBL, whatever all these little things, but it's not the same. So you have those 4 years to maximize what you have. So I think they're thinking, well, if I wasted 1 year here, like I can't wait out another year. But and I think a lot of them are thinking, I know I'm not going to make the NFL.
right.
I need to at least maximize some NIL money and become a starter at, Bowling Green for the next 3 years versus sitting at, Georgia for 3 more years. So, but I don't like it because I guess I'm older school and I don't like all the movement. 1,000 kids in the portal, first day, that just, and before the bowl game has even come up, that's just unheard of for me.
Wow. That is unheard of.
And I might be over-exaggerating, but I know as of was it Monday afternoon? It was like 667 before we even, Raj and I even recorded that night. So that's just crazy. So,
Herb, your thoughts on this playoff? Of course, for all you listeners out there, college football playoffs are finally announced, and it's going to be to some and no surprise. I was a little disappointed that I thought they could have done a little bit better, but Georgia gets TCU, or Georgia gets Ohio State, my bad, in the 1-4, and then Michigan, TCU in 2-3. Herb, we'll start with you, and then we'll start with Rodg and Clyde as well. Did the CFP committee get it right? And if so, your thoughts on this year's playoffs?
So the first 3 I thought locked in, and I thought they got that right, and I was not surprised at all. So last year, and I guess Alabama's been in that same position. Alabama and Georgia both not winning, their title. I guess I see now from the outside, I don't like the Ohio State inclusion just because they didn't even get to go to their conference championship game. But I can't see like who I would have moved up, if that makes sense. Gotcha. And just because like we're Bama fans, I never thought that we should have been in that conversation.
Right.
Let's go ahead and throw that part out. So the first 3 I agree with, and I think they should be there and be in the spots they're in. Ohio State just feels like backing into it, but that's very hypocritical to me because Alabama was in their exact position and got in. So,
but they also
see
won
why. Say again?
They also won it when they backed into their
So I see that, but I think the first 3 were right. And if the 4th one is wrong, I couldn't tell you who I would put in that spot.
Can you give me the list again? Ohio State, who?
Georgia
State,
gets Ohio
and
State,
Michigan versus TCU.
and Michigan gets TCU.
And Georgia, because it's the number 1 seed, they get the pick, so they're basically playing at home against Ohio State. So,
I think
TCU is a stretch.
TCU, I'm afraid, is going to get destroyed.
I think they are going to get destroyed, but I think their resume was there to get them in. Yeah, but I don't think they're in the class of even like. And the only reason why I would say Ohio State stays at 4 because I didn't want to see Michigan or Ohio State in the first round again. But I think all the other 3 teams would beat TCU handily. And I think Bama would beat
absolutely
TCU as well. You could probably keep going down the list. I'd probably take Clemson, especially with Clay Klubnik over them. I'd take Utah. Like the list would go on. And I apologize to any TCU viewers or fans or mothers and daughters that are listening, but the list of teams I would take over TCU is long. So they got in by resume, not by team strength, is what I think.
No, and you're right. And to all the TCU fans out there, use the hashtag Air Attack Podcast, and we'll get your tweets out there. But even if it's not during the show, but my thing is this: I don't think TCU should have gotten. Now, had USC beat Utah, I think TCU would have been kicked out, and USC would have been that 4th team.
Yep. I think TCU would have still stayed in over Ohio State, though.
I kind of feel like the committee wanted to see Ohio State over TCU, though.
I think they did, but them not even going to their conference championship, I think, hurt them. Yeah, so I think if you have 2 teams that have 1 loss and one of them lost a rematch in the conference and didn't even make it, I think you got to take the other team. Like I said, I'm not arguing who's better.
Right.
I'm arguing resumes, and TCU's resume is going to look better than Ohio State's at the end of the day. That's why I think they were going to get in. I don't think they have a shot in this.
Who, TCU?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I would pick Georgia.
It's gonna be Georgia beating
Michigan, then Ohio State, then maybe Georgia again before I pick TCU. So.
I think the Ohio State Georgia game might be interesting. It just depends on if Ohio State's offense plays darn near perfectly because Kirby Smart is going to have them ready to play.
I agree.
He's going to have them. They're going to. And I told you this. I think they're going to play him just like they did play Tennessee. Probably same type of defense. So Ohio State can win the game, but I don't see it happening. I honestly feel like it's going to be Georgia and Michigan in the national championship, and then Georgia winning. But as far as the top 4, this is kind of what I predicted after the championship games. I feel like Ohio State wasn't going to move up to 3 because then you have Ohio State Michigan rematch, and the committee didn't want to see that right now. TCU is going to stay still, and then Ohio State is 4, then Bama, and then Tennessee. So the funny thing is, I don't know if Herb has mentioned this or not, but prior to the championship games, there were so many Alabama fans trying to put together scenarios on how Alabama might possibly end up in the top 4, and it's just entertaining to watch. But at the end of the day, it's like we have 2 losses. We're not getting in, so let's just leave it at that.
And not going to the championship,
and not even making it to our championship game. And after the way we played this year, it's kind of like we just didn't deserve it. So it is what it is.
There's almost 2. Like Auburn went to the SEC championship game with 2 losses. And they won that against Georgia. I could have seen them in. LSU this year, if they don't lose to Texas A&M, they have 2 losses and they get to the championship game and they beat Georgia. I think they slide in. None of those was the case for Alabama. We lost our 2 best games, and all our top 25 wins ended up being like Texas and Mississippi State. Like it's just the wins weren't there.
We barely beat Texas.
Yeah, so I just didn't see it.
Yeah.
It's a weird year for that. I think maybe you should expand the playoff to 6 teams.
Not 12
to get more people in, but like the deserving teams are still the deserving teams. Like if this is BCS, you would just have Michigan versus Georgia, and if that ends up being the title game, you're saying we wasted a lot of time just to get where we were going to get anyway. But I'll be honest. Like having said what we just said about Alabama, I don't think the other teams want to see Alabama in the playoffs. Just because you have Bryce Young. I would take him in a game against almost anybody. So
exactly. That's why I want to see Alabama. I was hoping Alabama made it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
How
does everybody feel about the 12-team expansion? Because I feel like, obviously, if you're the top 4, based on what they're saying, you'll get a bye the first week or whatever that is. And then, but if you're the final 4 teams, if you're a player and you're going in the first round of the draft, are you even going to play in those games though? Like you got to win basically 3 or 4 more games just to get to the championship game. What's the whole point of playing?
Well, and that's a good point. So how are we doing the top 12 as if it was a top 12 like right now, or is it conference champion and a few at large? Do we know?
Conference champion and a few at large. I think
Yeah, I think
the asterisk though on some of the at-larges, but I think you're almost taking all your conference champions for sure. So what does that get you? Well, I don't know how many.
Now, is that your Power 5 conference champions?
Power 5 conference champions, I think, are all getting in from the first, the little things I've seen. And then it almost seems voting, and I always see at least one group of 5 in every list. Yeah. But I haven't really looked as far as to see how that's going to go.
I like it, but I think Raj brought a good point is, let's just say like this year, let's say it was this year, would Bryce Young want to play these extra potential 2, 3, 4 games and get, of course, the risk of getting hurt is obviously there as he leads into what we all assume will be his final year at Alabama. So, I mean, that's a good point. I'm for it. I just hope they don't make it to where, USC plays, like this year, be like Tulane or crap like that. I don't want to see those games, but
I think you're going to have some terrible first round games.
Yeah,
I think those 4 byes are going to become really key just for staying healthy. But I don't know that it's going to be as great. I think everybody's looking for sorry to break it up, but like Oklahoma, Boise State, and I just don't know that you're going to see like a whole lot of that. We saw last year with Cincinnati versus Alabama, and it just wasn't any. It's just talent and physicality just wins out in some of these games. Alabama had a terrible passing attack, and they were just like, we're just bigger than you. We're just going to run past you. So. And that was with a terrible line last year. So I think in some of these games, you're just going to see the big boys dominate,
And shout out to Coach I, the host of the Fan Addict podcast, good buddy of mine. Of course, I have to add this one up there because he is a Georgia guy. Nobody's worried about Bama this season. So
you can tell that everybody.
There you go, George. From a Georgia fan.
Alabama. Not supposed to be in the conversation, and they were still trending like number 1 or number 2 on Twitter.
Right.
Everybody says they don't think about Bama, but they
nobody's worried about Bama, but everybody wants to see Bama play for some reason. But
I didn't realize it, I guess, until the past couple years on Twitter that we were the villains of the college football world.
I knew that because the way I saw it was, since I'm a Dolphins fan, I've always hated the Patriots, and that's only because they won all those Super Bowls. So that's all. I just use that same comparison.
Yeah.
It's a good comparison.
Anyway, I feel like I derailed that, but sorry. But I guess going back to your original point, I did feel like they got the 3 of the 4 correct. I just don't know what your 4th one is.
If the BCS rankings was still around this year, the final ones would be Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, TCU, and Alabama would be your top 5.
Really?
Yeah.
But it would have been a Michigan Georgia final, which I think is where we're headed.
Yeah.
I kind of like the BCS, to be honest with you. I bring it back. What's wrong with that? What happened with that?
Coach I, if you're still watching, let us know your thoughts on Georgia and who do you have winning both semifinals and, of course, the national championship game.
Who are you starting with?
Reach out to Coach I. Real quick before we do make our predictions on that one, what's your guys' thoughts? I mean, I know it's probably a meaningless bowl when it comes to Alabama because, of course, being in playoffs is the expectations. Kansas State's a pretty good team. Adrian Martinez, Deuce Vaughn in the backfield. They got some weapons in the receiving core. We don't know. This is where all these players skip out, making bowl games. This kind of has a feel of OU and Alabama back in the 13 Sugar Bowl, just because it gets that. But your guys' thoughts on the Kansas State game and all that good stuff.
I'm already preparing we would have won that game if Bryce had played excuses. I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there right now. You'll see a lot of tweets that'll say Will would have gotten that sack if he was in there.
Right.
I don't know how my intensity is going to be from that game because I don't know, half our team I don't expect to play.
Herb and I have talked about this a few times, and I'm hopefully optimistic that Bryce and Will Anderson will play. My reason for Bryce playing is that Bryce really, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, but Bryce doesn't really take a lot of hits. He's good at scrambling, and when he does scramble, he knows when to get out of bounds. He knows when to slide. He's smart enough to say, I don't need to take any more hits. So I think, and I'm hoping that he plays for that. Will Anderson, obviously, he's going to take more contact and give more contact. So if he sat out, I could understand that, and then Dallas Turner would just step up and filling that position. So let's just say let's use this scenario. If Bryce plays, what is your prediction? I mean, if Bryce plays, I think we're winning. It'd be 34-17.
Is Bryce playing and Bill O'Brien's been fired by then? Or
Yeah.
if I can get the combination of those two, I'm thinking Alabama wins like 50-2. But if I don't have both of those, I mean, if Bryce plays, the defense is still up and down. There's no real telling. But I think we put up, at least 30 plus on them. So
yeah,
I think I could see like a 37-20, 4 kind of game, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I would handily pick Alabama.
Yeah.
But they're probably feeling like I'm playing right now. So I don't know. Between transfer portal and opt-outs, I don't even know how many people will be out there.
That's a good question. I have no idea.
Clyde, are you about to go play quarterback for Alabama? Is that what you're practicing back there?
I was wondering what he was doing.
My son wants to play catch. He's always bugging me about that.
Dad, you don't look busy.
We're almost done, buddy.
I told him 5 minutes, like 10 minutes ago. So he's like,
yeah, we're almost done. Heisman Trophy, Max Duggan, the TCU quarterback, Caleb Williams, and who was the other two?
Stetson Bennett and CJ Stroud, I think.
Yeah. I got Caleb Williams winning. Coach I, if you're out there, who's your Heisman Trophy winner? Everybody's Heisman Trophy pick. I think Caleb wins it easy.
I also picked Caleb. The only reason I can see people not voting for Caleb is because he got injured in that last championship game and they lost. Right. But other than that, before the championship games, I had Caleb Williams.
Yeah. I'm gonna give a sympathy vote to Hendon Hooker.
Okay.
I think the Max Duggan comment is probably based on that last drive, the tying drive against K-State was probably just one of the most amazing things that man was so tired.
He wanted that game to be over with.
He threw the ball versus run because he said, I ain't got nothing left.
He's like, dude, I'm taking a beating. I am gassed. Just please, let's get this over with.
Yeah. But this will be one of those years where I reach and give like a defensive player, a wide receiver. I think they just picked all quarterbacks on winning teams and said, here we're going. But I don't know, all these guys have kind of underwhelmed at times.
Yeah.
Clyde, I don't know if you knew this. Real quick before we end the show, did you know that the Denver Broncos game against the Rams on Christmas Day is also on Nickelodeon?
What?
They did that last year, though, right?
Yes, a slime thing. Yes, a slime game.
You didn't see that, Ron?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I hope Russell Wilson gets slimed over and over again.
That's probably the only way to make a Denver game entertaining these days.
Yeah, it might be.
Russell Wilson, if you're listening, man, we're just joking around, all right?
I'm not. Stop sucking.
You saw that comment. I do think Bryce is definitely one of the best for sure, but obviously we're biased. But I think if he had any kind of consistency or team around him, he would have been back in the Heisman. I think he did a better job this year with less than he did last year. So.
I think Bryce was actually left off the All SEC team.
Yeah, I don't know. But, honestly, like when we're talking about other players, though, Stetson Bennett is not the person I would have picked from Georgia. I would have picked Brock Bowers.
Oh, yeah.
If I was going to put somebody in the Heisman vote, that's like I'm going to petition this whole offseason to get him to the NFL next year. Like I don't think the SEC is ready for a whole nother year of him.
Right.
So.
And this question goes to everybody as we wrap up the show real quick. Spies on the Sideline. Good friend of mine, Kevin Bryant, wrote this. 2 free audio books out for all of you. Pretty much I'll send the tweet out and definitely get your chance and name entered to win that as we get closer to Christmas.
Can I win that? Because I want to listen to that.
I got you.
Yeah, send me a link, man. I want to listen to it.
Jalen Carter, Isaiah Fowler. Herb Rodg, Clyde, biggest as we head into, obviously this is the final show due to the fact that holidays coming up and all that good stuff. Final show of 2022. Look back in your personal life, sports life, whatever it may be. Go back to 22. What was your overall best moments? Just final outlook, so to speak, in 22, and make your biggest bold prediction when it comes to one of your favorite teams. Doesn't matter in 23.
So one of my favorite things this year, because I'm going to steal this one before us, was actually us getting our podcast going and started in our YouTube stuff and actually having some fun with everything this year.
Yeah.
And next year, I'm going to say Alabama loses one game, is back in the SEC championship game and wins it. But I don't think we have any idea who the quarterback's going to be yet.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's going to be Monroe, unfortunately.
Who's the coach going to be?
Who?
Who's your coach?
So Bill O'Brien is gone 100% in my mind, and Pete Golding has a 50-50. But there's got to be some cleaning house. I don't put it on the players this year. I don't think that we were prepared for a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
coaching staff's got to go. It's been bad for 2 years.
Wow,
Coach, I got you. Hit me up on the DMs. Raj, what's your outlook on 22, and then your bold prediction come 23?
Outlook, as far as biggest achievement, it would probably be the same thing as Herb. Herb and I have been talking for a while about trying to do it, and it's something that Herb, whenever we're on the phone anyway, 90% of the time we're talking about sports anyway. So we said let's try to get a podcast going, and I know he's just using me on the podcast because of my good looks and my entertainment value, and I'll let that slide.
Clyde, what did I say off the air? Didn't I say Raj is the talent?
Raj is the talent. I agree with him too.
And I have two big predictions for next year. Number one, you're going to laugh at this. LeBron James is going to lead the Lakers to an NBA title. What? Come on, guys. Come on. Don't do this.
Just stick to the Dolphins in Alabama.
Okay. Realistic predictions for next year is the Dolphins win the AFC East.
Okay.
The second one is Ty Simpson will take a one-loss Alabama team to a national championship. Ooh. Not Jalen Milroe, but Ty Simpson.
Ooh.
Much better.
You heard it here first.
My prediction is LeBron gets hurt in the middle of next year and decides to retire.
Ooh, he's still going to pass Kareem this year.
That's fine. And that's the last thing he'll accomplish in the NBA.
He's going to pass you too.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you.
Coach, these two guys would I highly recommend getting on your show as well. These two are very knowledgeable, and I highly recommend them.
Thank you.
Coach if he ever wants to come on our show, that invitation's extended as well.
Of course.
Clyde, same goes for you. 22 outlook and 23 bold prediction of one of your favorite teams, or many, however.
Oh man, I've been blessed in 2022, so I can't. There's so many blessings I can't even count. But my boys are healthy, and they love football, and they love sports, and they're smart. And
they're just like Clyde.
I can't be prouder of my boys than I am. So that's my outlook. Go ahead.
I said, good to hear. That's awesome.
I said they're just like you, Clyde.
Yeah, we're all goofballs over here.
Any predictions for Russell Wilson next year?
So can I be honest with you? I think the Broncos are going to be the worst team in the NFL again.
What?
Uh-oh.
And
what?
We are going to. I mean, I know, man. I hate to say it, but we're bereft of talent. We're going to be cleaning house next year. We're going to get a new general manager, new head coach, new coach. All these things will be new again. That never goes well in the first year. So I would say.
Did your son just say new quarterback?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
Oh, I thought he did. That was perfect if he did. I was like, oh, that's hilarious.
No, I don't know. I don't think he knows what we're talking about. But
okay. I swear that's what he started saying.
I think we're going to be the worst team in the NFL next year. I think we get the number one pick in the draft in 2024, and we select a quarterback.
Caleb Williams.
I think it maybe Caleb Williams, future Bronco, probably.
Let's ride.
Yeah. I think the wheels have fallen off of Russ, man. The wheels have fallen off.
He doesn't know where they are. He can't get any replacements. Nobody will return his calls.
Gotcha.
He doesn't play with any grit.
Left-handed, it can only get better.
I'm sorry, Mike. I know that's hard for you to hear, but I don't see any hope for the Broncos in the near future.
He's about to give you a bold prediction though that has some hope. So what you got, Mike?
Yeah, let's hear it.
So for me, 22, a lot was going on. Of course, losing my grandmother, who I was extremely close to in June, especially during the holidays. I am definitely missing her right now, especially her wonderful, just herself really, but she made some really, really good fudge and cookies and all that. But no, her Christmas was her favorite holiday, so it's a tough one, but she's in a better place. But I definitely miss her and love her. And for me, overall, biggest, I'm going out on a limb. Denver fires Nathaniel Hackett after the 2023 season. Fires George Paton after the 2023 season. Brings in Peyton Manning. The new head coach of the Denver Broncos will be Lincoln Riley out of USC, and brings in Caleb Williams as the first-round pick in 24.
The NFL transfer portal.
Yeah,
That's my bold prediction. Lincoln Riley comes to Denver.
So you're saying that the Broncos are going to hold on to the garbage that we've had this year?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Lincoln
I just
Riley,
don't get a vibe that we're going to fire him. I think we would have done it by now. That's the one only irritates me.
You can't fire him.
Exactly.
The guy who hired him cannot fire him because that's a black eye for him.
I feel like
It looks
Lincoln
bad
Riley
for
in
him.
the NFL will be like Cliff Kingsbury in the NFL. I feel like they'll be too similar and have the same hangups.
You never know. College coaches have not had much success.
It's way too different, man. And the people you're talking to.
Absolutely.
You know?
Even Saban tried it. That didn't work out for you.
Yeah. He got out of there so fast. I forget what terrible franchise he was dealing with though. But,
Miami. Yeah.
I know they were probably
Okay.
horrible.
Right. Yeah, we know. Hardy har.
I put it out of my mind, but I just know that they were horrible and it's a bad fit for them.
Yeah, we had a bad year. Okay, whatever. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, guys, that's the wrap up on the 2022 podcast season, if that even exists. But we'll make it one anyway. Gentlemen, it was fun tonight. I enjoyed it. Had a blast, as always.
Yeah.
Joining on the show, Clyde from Denver, Herb and Rodg, the host of the Herb Rodg Podcast. Check him out. Where can they listen to you guys on your end of the bargain?
I listen on Spotify to those guys.
Yep. We finally learned somewhere in the middle of the year how to get it onto Spotify and the Apple Podcasts and Apple Music. I think it only took us like 20 podcasts to get it out there everywhere. But we could. And Clyde, I thank you off air. I do thank you on air, man, for always.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Feedback and stuff like that. So it's definitely appreciated. So.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. All right, guys. Well,
that's a wrap on 22. Clyde, I'll see you next week. Herb and Rodg, guys, have a wonderful Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever is good for you guys. And we'll still stay in contact. Until then, the big things are coming in 23. Can't wait to release them. Until then, we'll catch you all next year. Take care, guys.
All right.
Go Dolphins.
Roll Tide.